Are young people just bold enough to challenge tradition? Or are they disrespecting what came before them? And when it comes to money, is Gen Z struggling more or just complaining more?
I believe it is acceptable for younger generation to reject things from the past. Something that should be gotten rid of is marriage.
We prioritize the boy child more than the girl child. I feel that should be obvious.
I strongly, twice, 3 times, 5 times disagree with what he has said. That's a very village thought.
Who are the corrupt people in this country? The old generation.
Simply because you are older than me doesn't make you wiser than me.
The values that we really hold dearly were the values that made our African heritage.
We are 100% sure that we are the future of this generation.
I believe it is acceptable for younger generation to reject things from the past. I mean, these are things that people who came before us believed in, and we respect that. But some of them just don't make sense anymore. I mean, a lot of things are changing, from technology, from education, from how people view life generally. So I think we are at a point where some of these beliefs should completely be gotten rid of. An example is maybe things that we have been fighting for a very long while, like FGM. That should totally disappear from Kenya, like from every African country. Something else that should completely disappear is whereby I feel like boys are given and I don't know what to call it. Boys are given a forefront at everything. I mean, even when somebody gets a son, they celebrate, they are happy. Like, the celebration is bigger compared to when somebody gets a baby girl. And I feel like at this point, we are at a point in life where I believe everybody, it doesn't matter the gender, man or woman, all of us, if given the same opportunities at education, at giving opinions, at just everything in general, I think that everybody can actually make it to the forefront. And I believe that that is something that as Africans we should really consider. Something else that should also be gotten rid of is marriage, opinion on marriage. I feel like as a society we have this norm in our heads where like people have to get married at a certain age. Like, oh, I am 25. As a woman, I am 25. I should already be having kids. As a man, I am 28. I mean, my older brother just got married. My younger brother just got married and I'm not yet married. I mean, what is that? I feel like people should make decisions such as marriage considering where they are in life. Like, for example, are you financially stable enough to get married, or are you just getting married to make society happy? Are you just getting married to make your parents home happy? As a woman, are you going to have a child at 25 just to make your parents happy? You know, I think there is so much to consider apart from just going through life, just taking the 4, I think there were, like, when we were growing up, kulikuwanga na 4 stages of life. There was a birth, there was a marriage, and then I think there was birth, initiation, marriage, and then death. I think there's so much to life than just these 4 stages, and I think that should be considered. That is my opinion.
My name is Alvin Gumba. I strongly disagree because ukiangalia back then, families used to thrive very well because there was that sense of unity amongst the family that ukiangalia into now this time and season, unapatanga that most of the the female side, unaonanga tu some, and the male side pia, unaonanga kuna this rupture of gayism, which is not actually a good way to bring up a society, unaona. And so I feel like the traditional the traditional values are way good because enhance that momentum of hardship or hard work, and also it enables us even to be resilient because inatupea hiyo motisha ya kuwa na kufanya that hard work shape unapatanga like squeezy. Many things may revive through the traditional values as compared to our new like morals. And then like mostly for me, I would say that enhanced to that spirit of hard work and also family.
Hi, my name is Faith Wanyama. I strongly agree because just because something has been there for quite a long time doesn't mean that it's important right now. Because some of these values, some of these norms were shaped by limited understanding, and cultural biasness, and they just don't align with the values of human rights right now. Yeah.
My name is Brian Maloba. I disagree with the opinion because I feel like the values, I consider myself old. So the values that we really hold dearly were the values that made our African heritage a prize, that we felt good when we obeyed some cultures. Because I feel like most of these new era cultures have affected marriage, have affected respect, have affected actually the family. There's no family because of the beliefs that people have with the new era now. Because you feel like she's saying we prioritize the boy child more than the girl child. I feel that should be obvious. Because there's no gender balance. It can never be. A man can be a man, a lady should be a lady. What a man can do, a lady cannot do.
Oh my God, huku ni wapi? I strongly, twice, 3 times, 5 times disagree with what he has said. In my mind, I'm even wondering, who is this? Huku ni wapi tuko? Because how can you tell me that a man can never be superior to a woman? It's not even a question of superiority. It is a matter of having people on the same plate, on the same table, because they are humans, not because of they are, you're a man, it's just ridiculous that you will think that, and it's okay. Okay, I don't understand. I was going to say that I understand because you're a man, but I don't. I mean, we are in the 21st century where both genders should be prioritized because we are all human. I mean, let go of the fact that, we should let go of every other fact that people used to base things on while debating. We should not even talk about religion, we should not talk about gender, we should not talk about race, we should just talk about us, ourselves, all of us as human beings. And you saying that men can never be superior than women, that's ridiculous. That's a very village thought. Because men can never be it's not even about superiority. It's okay, you take it, I will give it to you. Umesema they are superior. But in the generation that we are now, we have so many women that financially and educationally and work-wise are so much more superior than men. I mean, there are women driving Range Rovers. There are men begging in the streets. There are women who are professors. There are men who can't even read. That's why I'm saying we cannot base this discussion on whether you're a man or a woman. It's whether as human beings, what do we think? That's just my take on this.
Hi, I'm Kelvin Jeff, and I strongly agree that young, old, irrespective of age, it's high time we be given freedom and right to reject, and whatever was deemed right back in the days or in the older days, things have evolved. The only constant thing is change. It's high time we change from what was deemed right back then to now. For instance, There's what was deemed reputable jobs when we were growing up. We all wanted to be professors, pilots, neurosurgeons. But there are more evolved job opportunities that pay way better than what we wanted to be when we were young. So it's high time, irrespective of my age as a young person, to reject and accept what I deem right and wrong, irrespective of my age.
My name's Teresa Olalo. As you can see, I'm a mother of Gen Zs. Na napata kazi ngumu sana na Gen Zs wangu. Sometimes ukiambia mtoto ati during our periods we were not supposed to eat that kuku. Nakuza mom, kuku na age inaingiliana wapi? So hata mimi nakosa jibu. Unaona anyway, wezi kuku na age surely. So sioni kama ni lazima wafuate tradition at some points, and at some points naona wanafaa kufuata. Juu tuseme mambo ya marriage kitambo mlikuwa mnaambiwa ati lazima aunti yako ndiye akutafutie mtu. Reason being ndio anajua karakta ya huyo mtu you are getting married to. In case kitu ufanyike, mnaenda direct wapi? Side ingine tena unaweza mletea huyo mtu na kose kumpenda. So what will you do? Yes, ndio nasema. So nashindwa kama inafaa ama haifai. I'm always confused.
Hi everyone, Teddy Spencer my name. I'm not a younger generation myself, neither anti-Gen Z, but I would want to strongly agree that the younger generation should refuse the old tradition, myth and conception of the olden days. Generation keep on changing, right? And right now, when you look at Africa, we compare ourselves even with the developed countries. Why are they developing? They are open-minded. We tend to borrow a lot of cultures, behaviors, the standard behaviors from our colleagues from developed countries, yeah? I remember a story of Meghan Markle when she was young in America. From the White House, there was an advert of a soap dish that women all over America, should belong to the kitchen. A young lady said, people all over America, not women, but should be people all over America. And it was, it was changed. Those countries are open-minded. So for us here, and I want to give traditional a prime example, like you go to a Luo community, they were not being circumcised. Reason being, they encroach next to the ocean. And therefore, they are able to go to the ocean or to the lake or to the river to clean, so that the prepuce can be clean, But you look at it in terms of medical, what are the consequences and effect of not circumcising? Yeah, they're the ones with the rate of HIV being on a high rise, and other STDs, sexual transmitted diseases. So should we just stuck there? No, things have really, really changed, right? When it is a fact, and I'm not shy of from saying, if you don't circumcise, you will be very dull in bed, and your wife will automatically run away from you. You will remain dirty, yeah? Yes, that is a fact. Traditionally, we look at during the funerals time, there was that kuakisha moto, Moto ilikuwa inaakishwa just to scare away the wild beast, the wild animals from attacking people. But nowadays, you see, we have the modern tents, we have everything. People are very comfortable during even funerals. There are no, forests nowadays. The population has grown. Number 3, technology has come up to make the work of a man easier, you know? Yes, I remember very well the first cell phone in our country. The first person who bought the first cell phone was the late Mtula Kilonzo. And it was breaking news on the papers all over. It was a Motorola with a very, you know, this is technology. But today, we have iPhones. We have all manners of phones. They are sisters. They really help us to work, to network. You do everything from your comfort zone, you know. You can reach your parents from where you are. You can be in school through technology. You can do your homework, your assignments through technology, you know. You can buy your token from your comfort zone, you know. So the younger generation should be given space. And for myself, the time I was being born, a child from the time of birth, a child was born and the eyes were closed for 3 to 4 days. But nowadays, a baby comes out, macho iko nje tayari. You see, this is, you know, scientifically, things are changing. And you'll find those kids at the age of 2 years, you know, hakuna kitu ajui. They think faster. It's just that the older generation don't want to accept the changes. They are too slow. Even to thinking, the way they do their things, they are too slow. Let's give the younger generation the space, yeah? Because by the time you're sitting even on your computer, you know, doing 1 or 2 stuff and what have you, the GNC, the younger generation already know what are you struggling with. They know the shortcuts, you know, of doing things. Right now, Kenya as a country, we are not even developed. The older generation has brought this problem. Why are you experiencing and having an employment problem in our country? Because the older generation were not able to think and, you know, put mechanisms in place to invest, you know, so that this generation can be able to have even job opportunities, you know. The old generation are telling the younger people, we are not having the housing projects, you'll go there and do a mjengo, you know. This generation cannot go and start now lifting the mchanga, the sand and bricks and doing what? That is bullshit, to be very honest. Yeah? We talk about education, free primary education and what have you. It's not real. So many people have gone to school. Primarily, there are no jobs, you know. Who are the corrupt people in this country? The old generation. The old generation. Now, wataki kuambilika, if they're told, this is the rightful direction, they don't want to accept that. They form cocoons, you know, to keep lying. Recently, they were taken to the State House. They had a background photo of motorbikes. They left without those motorbikes. Yeah? The chief prime cabinet minister came now on national television saying the motorbikes were not being registered. So you'll come and collect them. Honestly, no one will be allowed back in that State House to collect a motorbike. That is lying. You know, that is for, you know, let's be very honest. The younger generation should be completely be given a space to run the affairs of the country and that is now, you know, our day-to-day life and go home. Yeah? Discipline-wise, I don't see if they have any problem. It's just the older generation are shying off from telling or having the modern discussions with the younger generation. Have topics with kids, even in the house. Have topics ranging from what my friend here has mentioned about lesbianism and what have you. Let people stay their life. Let your kids stay their life. Whether a child wants to have, how is it affecting you if someone is a lesbian? How is it affecting you? That is that person's life. And the Constitution allows, even today, once you come of age, you are set to make decisions. Why are you not making decisions for someone else? Yeah? This one is an adult. Let this person stay a kind of a life. As long as he or she is not fringing the freedom or the welfare of another person. Yeah? If, for example, I'm a lady, my colleague here is a lady, and we want to become lesbians, it's a mutual agreement. These are two adults doing whatever thing they want to do. Why are you talking? Have I interfered with anyone's space or freedom? No. These are two consensual adults. They are their own freedom. Yeah? So Again, another thing before I wrap up. During the old time, during our parents, you could hear that people have come from village A. You want to get married to a certain lady, so you wait until this lady goes to fetch water from the stream. You see how the lady is fetching the water, lifting it up on the head, I don't know doing what, and then they recommend this is the right lady to get married to. That is bullshit in the modern time, you know? Yeah, right now, people have to date, learn the other party. As long as someone is given prior knowledge and information, probably having safer sex, not to indulge in, you know, in a lot of very stuff that maybe bring a lot of problems or insecurity, yeah? People date, learn the character of another person in whom you intend to get married to. It's very important. Slowly by slowly, they come and get married. Then the issue of dowry has to be put. Are you buying this person? No, you're not buying this person. Second, is not a marriage. Who says you must get married? Who says? You can just decide to stay as a man. A lady, you can just decide to stay. It's not a must that you have to give birth. Those are all the things that generation has to. You have to give birth to 5 kids, name your dad, name your grandmother, name your grandfather, all. That is, let people stay their own life. In summary, let the younger generation be given the prime time, yeah, to stay their own life. I feel they're more focused than the old generation. Let the old generation, in terms of leadership, go home.
Mariga Ann is my name. I want to agree because I agree with some of the norms and some of them I don't agree. Okay, in the first thing, I agree with the marriage thing. Of course, I'm not a Gen Z. I'm a mother, and some of the things that we follow are tradition. So first of all, I'm a mother, and I believe in getting married and strongly holding in marriage norm. Kuolewa na kupata watoto, so that generation itaendelea. Then I disagree with my colleague here. He's saying that you are allowed to be a lesbian. I don't agree with that for sure. Hiyo inatutoa kwa tradition zetu kabisa. Na pia in the term of respect, unatukosesha heshima kabisa kama wazazi. I won't agree my baby girl or baby boy nione anaoa mwenzake. No. Hata mimi nataka kuzaliwa, nataka kusikia nikiitwa mtoto wangu nikiitwa jina yangu ikiitwa kwa watoto wangu. So I totally disagree in some of them, but I agree with some. The other thing, when it comes to respect, now the younger generation, they want to discuss. They bring their idea, and some of them you have to agree with them. No, some of us as parents, we need to say, because wanasema, sisi ambao tumekua, tunaona mbele kuliko kile ambao wanaona. And always whatever that we tell them, it's something that we have experienced. It's not that we are telling them in a wrong way. We want them to have a brighter future. And asione mabaya hapo mbele. So what I can say as a parent and as a millennial, Gen Z, I can agree with them some of the things. Like right now, they are fighting for the freedom of the country. I totally agree. Kwa sababu, when they can see what we cannot see. First of all, we can say that as...
So we see it.
No, wait. No, that's why I'm standing in this line, because I agree with some, I don't agree with some of them. Because when it comes now to respect, now some of the things that maybe they do, even in the social media, they don't even think whether everyone is watching whatever they are doing. But some of the things, right, like fighting for the freedom, I agree with them. And I totally accept and I totally support them, because whatever they are fighting for is what we could not fight. And why? Because maybe tradition zilituweka mentality that whatever our parents say, we have to, or whatever these people, the big people say, we have to admit with them. So For me, with Gen Z, I can agree with you guys. But when it comes to tradition of families, I totally disagree. That's what I can say.
There are few things I would strongly disagree. I understand from ever since time immemorial, there are culture norms that shaped the society we have today and who we are. We are who we are because of some of the things we believed from back then. But one thing I usually don't believe is the fact that sijui mtu mzima hata akakaa chini anaona pale mimi nimesimama. Height wise, how do you see far when seated and me I'm standing? That is one. Two, it's high time watu wa kitambo pia muagree fools also do grow old. Simply because you are older than me doesn't make you more wise than me. For instance, the experiences that I have lived might not be the experiences somebody older ameishi. Naweza kuwa nimepitia shida zimenishape to make the choices I make today na hujapitia. So the fact that when mtu mzima tu huwezi niambia atufanye vitu hivyo na wewe hujapitia experience. Kama sahi mtu wako town kuna kitu mimi napitia, nyanyangu akiwaocha hawezi nipea hiyo advice. Ni mtu mzima yes, but I accept kuna vitu mimi napitia. Kama sasa nikienda kwa nyanyangu nimwambie na update aje WhatsApp yangu. Hata kama uko na miaka 100, tuambiane ukweli. How do you answer that? That has nothing to do with age. Age na experiences ni vitu mbili tofauti, watu wazima mkubali. It's high time mtupatie sit on these tables on what I speak, what I stand for and reasoning yangu. Kitambo ulikuwa unaenda tu pale we kacheza na wenzako huko. Naweza kwa niko na opinion moja strong sana ya kutupeleka mbele. Niko na opinion mbona hii kijiji yetu haiendelei. But women niangalia from the lens of age, which is mbaya sana. Then I accept the fact that there are few things we can borrow, from other countries, but pia kuna culture erosion. Sidhani it's a good picture mtu kama wewe nikikuja na boys mwenzangu, mazena kwambia huyu ndo demu wangu ama huyu ndio chali yangu ina sound weird jo. Ama demu na demu wamekuja watu wawili juu tunataka tu ku accept na nini pia tujue kidogo umeingia forex mazee na tunajua si forex so mimi accept the fact that tujue where do we draw these lines za what is right, what is wrong, ndo pia tugaidiane vipoa.
Hello, my name is Wanjiro Chege. Personally, I agree. I feel like some aspects of the tradition are so beautiful. Aspects like traditional weddings or rurasho, family setup, they are so beautiful. However, times have changed. I feel like in a family setup, yes, it's so beautiful, but kama mtu ana feel like I don't want to have kids, sitaki kukuwa married, it's okay. Like ni opinion yao, kama anataka generation yake iende na yeye, sawa, maisha iendelee. Like hakuna point ya kushinda umemwingililia at this age unafaa kukuwa married, at this age unafaa kukuwa na kids. Tunapata mtu a lady juu yako maybe over 30 anapewa pressure na society ama her family ati juu hajaolewa something. Also, I feel like gone are the times where this norm ya tradition ya the man should provide, alafu the woman, you just be a wife and you just be a mom. Like nothing else is happening in your life. Wewe kazi yako, you wake up, you're a wife, you're a mom. I feel like women, we should be empowered. We have goals to achieve, we have dreams. Like let's say personally I want to build for my parents. Sitawajengea kama niko tu hapo housewife na sijitumi. So I feel like women should be empowered. Na hiyo norm ya tradition ya you should just be a housewife and the man provide, inafaa kuisha. Yeah, that's it.
I strongly want to agree that the older generation had it easy in life. I'm looking at it in this perspective, in terms of factors of production, which are 4: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. There was land for production. There was enough food, more than enough. And they could not maximize the entire land they had during that time. Yeah? It prompted them, even like a man could marry so many women and have so many kids. So there was labor, which is a very key factor of production. Land was there, labor was there. Then it's just entrepreneurship, that there was no much really knowledge that time, but they had it easy way to survive, to acquire resources. When you look something like land, acquiring land, there were no such legal procedures as today. There were no land title deeds. You could just be told the far your eyes could reach, that is your portion. You walk up to there, still add yourself. You know, there was no much legal aspects in acquiring land as a resource, which is a problem in our today life. So I would say they had it really, really easy. In terms of education, I would like to disagree with my sister here, saying that when someone at that time getting to the university, they'd hold the harambes. That time the government was paying people who are going to the university. Get it right, yeah? Because as my friend has said, yes, and my mother is a prime example. My mother told me at one time, mtoto wangu, nyinyi mnazaliwa nyakati mbaya. Because that time, during their time, the government had a plan. By the time they were getting to A level, at that point, wako na proficiency. Mtu anajua kimaliza form 6, naenda kufanya kwa kuvenja in agriculture, ama kwa teaching, ama kwa lands, ama kwa veterinary. There was that plan, right? You saw? It was so easy getting a job. My maternal grandfather and mother, both of them were secretaries to the DC, who was a white person, you know, from the history. So it was so easy. And they could even quickly change a job, hopping from one job to another. It was so easy for them. And even now, even changing, as my friend has mentioned here, you could reach just class 4 that time, you are assured of a job. Permanent and pensionable, class 4. Someone getting up to form 4, you could just brag in the entire village how well you are educated. Right now, what is form 4? You cannot work even with a form 4 paper and even secure employment. So, right now things are very difficult, very difficult. Myself speaking, I have a background in teaching. I'm a TVET lecturer who has graduated, never secured a job in any institution, got frustrated. I've gone for certified nursing. I've completed. Getting a job is just frustrating. I'm 39 years old. Who is going to employ me now anymore? No one. I'm almost getting now into depression. I've invested. There's nothing. Where do I go? Where am I going to tell now? How do I even tell my kids, work hard, education is good, kesho mtakuwa na jobs? Hata hao wazee sasa in government, unasikia watu wasome. And the government is not preparing. There is poor planning. They are not planning for the coming generation. Watawapeleka wapi? If they want to even to fly outside, corruption ndio hiyo. Kupata passport is a problem. Kupata nini is a problem. Anything is a problem. Kupata job, you need to have a network. Usipokuwa na mtu akushikilia, my friend, no way. Hata upati. That is why today there is now mixed of things taking place. You find an engineer is a teller in a bank. Okay. Professionally, wakiangalia hata ministries, you see how confused this country is. Mtu hana background hata ya medical, ati ndio CS wa. Ataelewa nini sasa? Ati mtu ako ICT, look that man. The generation wako hapa wamesoma, wapatie docket ya ICT. They'll see marvelous in this country. Yeah? Mzee amekaa tu hapo. Anatangoja tu reports briefing. Haelewi chochote. You know, we are really, really in shit. Old generation had it all. It was much, much easy. There was nothing like harambe. Harambe imekuja moyo akitaka tu kutoka kwa kiti kama tumezaliwa sasa. Ati sasa harambe ya kanisa harambe. There was nothing like harambe. Things were very easy. Mtu angeenda shule, anapeleka tu ng'ombe hata kwa shule na mtoto wake anasoma. Anapeleka hata kondo. You know? That is the thing. So right now things are very difficult. Even as we are here, let's just be very honest with us. Nana kona mshahara 50,000. Sahi, even as we are standing, I'm very sure nobody. That is already a problem. That is a problem. It's a fact. Yeah? So that is my take.
As you can see, I strongly agree. You see, those people who lived before us, they had it easier than us. As you can see, our friend here is a very learned TVET lecturer. If it was kama ingekuwa zamani, saizi angekuwa a very respectable person. But right now, you can see we are all suffering together. Yes, it's true. So, I feel like zamani, information was very scarce as compared to today. That's why unaona if ningesoma saizi nikuwe na bachelor, currently like I'm an engineering student, ningekuwa saizi nishapata like places nimeanza kuitwa, but siku hizi acha nisomeaje nimalizeaje, unapata hadi naenda kufanya attachments for free, internship free, working na si ati napembelezwa, naambiwa kama uwezi weishia without even getting a compensation. So you can see that zamani people were, if for example you're titled an engineer, like wewe ungetembea tu pahali saizi milango zako zingekuwa zinafunguka. But as for now, currently I'm a model because of the situation. And then also another thing, when it comes to education wise, right now as we are talking, if for example, since the older people got that privilege, for now mimi nimalize kusoma, it's very hard for me to get a job. Because of what? Because we are a lot of people. And those people who did it before, they are, unajua ndo kuna advantage kwa sababu they were few. And pia unapata they used to get lands in a very affordable price. Kama kitambo ungepata land runda na kitu kama 100 Gs. But saizi, kupata land ni over, kama Pangani saizi is like 120 million. So unaona, that says that we are getting it in a harder way. Like our life right now, it's very, very difficult. And also when it comes also to generational wealth, unaona, those people who are thriving very well are those people who got it before us. I hope mnani get sindio, si mnaifeel. Because those people who, let's say, wali acquire before, it's very easier for them even to maneuver. To zamani, it was all about what you know, but today it's all about who you know. So if today, let's say I haven't qualified in a certain, let's say, course, ama let's say, saizi nataka kuingia Serena, naweza kuwa nimefika form 4, but through the people I know, napata, I'm a manager at Serena Hotel. So and then, like kitambo, if you did, like, let's say, hospitality, which ingekuwa very easier to maneuver in those industry. And who I will blame for all this is the older generation, because one thing is that already there are people who are thriving in different industries, and they're not being given that privilege of getting those opportunities because of the older people who are refusing to get off those positions. Unajua kama, for example, in our political forum, unapata those people who walirule kitambo ndio bado wako hadi wa leo. And not that we don't have very brilliant minds here. All we want is give the older generation like an opportunity to showcase, because I feel like even though the younger people are not that important in today's time, I'm sure bet enough that we are 100% sure that we are the future of this generation.
I'd like to strongly disagree with the man there mwenye amesema that we had plenty of food, plenty of planting and harvesting. Nimefeel I just had to counter because that is very personal to me, considering the region that I come from. I come from Machakos, Yata Hills na uko ndani kabisa. So I think when we talk about having a lot of food, we have to talk about regions pia, because if you talk about Rift Valley, Nyanza, Western, I've been to those areas and I agree with him. But if you talk about where I come from, place enye you plant mahindi season moja, unangoja zigrow uze zinakufa. Unangoja season ya mbaazi, una plant, unangoja harvest maybe ulipe nayo school fees ama ikue chakula or whatever you're going to use it for, zinakufa. Hakuna mvua, the land is not fertile. Like, there's just nothing about farming there that you can succeed in. So for me, it makes very little sense when you tell me that if you fail in your academics, you can maybe prosper in agriculture. For me, that makes very little sense, because I've seen my relatives, my uncles, I won't even lie, my uncles, the only thing we can depend on in a thrive huko inakujanga season moja from around December, January and February ni maembe. And when it is that season, Juni season ya maembe, ni nyingi mpaka zinaanguka. Unaingia chini ya mti ya maembe unapata maembe kila mahali, hata hakuna place ya kukanyaga. And they go to waste cause kila mtu ako na maembe hiyo area. Unaenda kuuzia nani maembe huko? Like, unless you're the kind of person who has a wider network, utapeleka maembe Nairobi. But then again, you come to Nairobi, unapata watu wa Ukambani wote from Machakos, Kitui, Makueni, wote everywhere wameleta maembe zao Nairobi. And explain to me how for a whole year you're going to survive on a harvest of just 3 months. And the harvest is not even 3 months, because you start maybe zinaanza kumea maua around December, and then they get better by January. Then now you can start maybe harvesting by around February, March ikaribia kwanza na kuisha. So tell me how you're going to survive on mangoes that you harvested in 1 month for a whole year. And then you have to wait for another year, and you have a family. How does that make sense? Please make it make sense.
Who do you blame?
In what situation?
In your situation.
I don't have anybody to blame.
Ingekuwa kwa situation yako, ningeblame wazee wako. You know why? East I did. Bantu aliingia Kenya before Lu. Mukazunguka kwote, mukaona kwali arid and semi-arid is where you could settle. You had Nyanza, ungeenda huko, when Luo were coming in, they would have gone to somewhere else. Now you see, the choices, ancestors were going to make.
That is a very weird, that is a very weird point. Yeah. Let me tell you something. This is something that we had no control over. Yeah. This is something that we had no control over. During the migration, no, listen. During we do not know, like, kama wewe uko sure at what time they migrated into Kenya, let me know. But at the time of the migration, I'm sure these parts were green. Like, it was during the greener, ile time yenye Ukambani kuna kwanga greener. Like, in Machakos, at around January kuna kwanga green. February kuna kwanga green. Until sasa uanze kuingia mwezi wa 3, wa 4, wa 5 kwenda mbele, it gets very dry. I mean, grasses zote zinakaa iflo.
Yes.
So how do we know that my relatives or wazee wangu wa kitambo, they did not migrate when it was greener? And something else, we cannot control nature. If they settled there, I mean, that was just a way of nature. Sometimes things just become because nature made them that way. So wezi niambia the whole population of Kenya ingeenda yote iende kusettle Nyanza ama Western.
Kuna coping mechanisms kama agriculture. Kuna irrigation.
Tuna irrigate kutoka wapi?
Twende pole pole. If you are disadvantaged, there are better ways to advantage yourself. Sawa? Hata Kenya si kila mtu ako palipoa. Right?
Yes.
Tungekuwa na uwezo, we could have gone to highlands zenye hata wazungu walichukua, Wakikuyu akachukua. But hatuko huko, and we are still thriving. So place you huko, ancestors wako walifanya nini so that the next generation finds it a better place, or they leave it a better place than they find it.
First things first, ume raise point ya irrigation ikanishika. Because where are we irrigating from? Let me tell you, we have a river, yes. River Athi passes through Matuyata, where is my hometown. That river inakuanga na a lot of water sa yenye kuna mvua. Mvua ikipotea pia inaenda kipungua. I don't know if you've seen that about rivers. So you cannot irrigate from this river.
Sawa.
Something else, listen.
Mvua kuna kati inanyeshanga na ichagui sehemu. Kwenu kukinyesha, una harvest hiyo maji?
We do harvest, but for how long? For how long are you going to use maji yenye ume harvest na siku 2, 3? And let me tell you, I've lived in Western and I've lived in Ukambani. Mvua ya Western and Ukambani is not the same. In Western inanyesha ile heavy rain like during the afternoon. Sikumbuki ilikuwa inaitwa what type of rainfall, I don't remember. Very heavy in the afternoon mpaka hata usiku. But in Ukambani unaona jua imewaka na bado kunanyesha, kutanyesha for like 15 minutes or 30 minutes and it's done. When it is heavy, which is only like some days, like I can count in a month.
Last question.
No, wait.
Last question.
Wait. Some days zenye, because I know hata kwa compound ya my grandparents kuna tank kubwa sana yenye maji inaingianga. Kuna vile imekuwa connected to the roof, the water gets drained in the tank. But for how long are we going to use hiyo maji kidogo yenye imekuwa collected? How are we going to use that water for domestic use and still use it at the farm?
Last question. Wakati ulikuwa mtoi na saa hii, is Machakos changing in terms of greenery?
No.
It's getting haikoi green sai?
No. It's still the same.
Unless mimi ndio akili yangu inifanyie justice. The last time nilikuwa huko nikiwa mless. Sai
which month?
They are better.
Which months do you go? No, which months do you go?
Susikize tu. Ulikuwa time ukaje explain.
Okay, sawa.
Mimi kuna time nilikuwa nafanya set books. And I had advantage ya ku travel a bit of these counties or provinces when they were provinces. I can tell you for free. There was a time macha ilikuwa imekauka zaidi. Sasa hii macha si kama ile time. It's a bit greenery and all that. So ni up to sisi to make place imetupata hata kama ni mbaya aje fiti. That would be my last. So whatever you are in, make it better. Unaona by the time unaleta toi wako, make sure match is better.
No, you cannot tell me I can siwezi anza sasa kuenda ati naanza kufanya irrigation Machakos nzima. If the governor, we have two governors who have tried to work on the same thing. They've tried irrigation. They've tried.
Acha kupe example tofauti. Do you know there are people wana thrive na kuvua?
Fishing,
yes.
Yeah, they do.
Na isikudanganye juu ni samaki tu, kuna season yeti wako plenty. Kuna season they are in plenty na kuna season samaki ni kidogo. But lazima tujue hii time samaki ni wengi, eka pesa, time samaki ni kidogo, do something else that is not fishing.
Okay, that makes sense. But when it comes to agriculture and water in Ukambani region, please don't talk about it. Because that can never work. In Ukambani, all rivers are seasonal. Mimi nakumbuka nikiwa mtoi, there are times that kuchota maji ilikuanga Saturdays peke yake. Because alafu unaweza enda hiyo nini kwa mto hiyo Saturday, mkae the whole day, mnangoja maji like ikuje na haikuji. No, wait. I'm trying to tell you. I know.
Problem, right?
Listen, you're not listening. What I'm trying to tell you is kwa vitu zingine zote they work, and I started with saying I agree with him in all other factors, but when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to matters rainfall and water, Ukambani is just a no. I've lived there half of my life. I go back there every chance I get, and it's still the same. I'm talking about Yatta Hills. I don't know about the other Ukambani that you're talking about. Maybe we can talk about Kangundo because it's closer to Nairobi. It's so good they even grow coffee. But Yatta, no, we cannot talk about that. Agriculture and Yatta, no. Because we
From
don't.
generation to generation.
When it comes to rainfall, mvua hainyeshi, all rivers are seasonal. All rivers there are seasonal, and they're not even rivers, they are streams.
So my response to your concern is, my friend, I'm saying Kenya is not a landlocked country.
Exactly.
We have an ocean, Indian Ocean. Ukambani is not that very far.
No, it's very far.
It's not. Kenya, we have resources that can tap water from Lake Victoria, can tap
to
water
Eastern.
from Indian Ocean, from Tana River, and you do irrigation. Why do you think over time, all the years, the ministers having the bucket of water comes from Ukambani? Why? So that now the leaders can focus on that if it is an issue. So blame the government.
No.
The land is there. The resources are there. Why? You see, right now, Kenya is able to tap. Is it piped oil all the way from coast to even Uganda?
Yeah,
Why?
true.
Why can't they also do the same, tap water from the coast? It will not come even up to Nairobi. Channel it. River Tana is not
I
very
think
far.
you're deviating from what
No,
we're
I'm not
talking
deviating.
about.
I'm just providing the solution. Why the persistent long overtime problem when the resources are there? So we are blaming the government of the day for poor planning.
But we are talking about people, what was the money, why they had it difficult, depending on agriculture, if academics failed.
Question.
During that time,
Question.
did we have these resources?
Did anyone die of hunger in Ukambani?
They do.
Because,
They do.
you know,
Starvation
yeah.
kills. Starvation kills.
Just
And I will
dying.
give you this one instance. Last year, but one, nilienda mazishi ya aunti yangu Ushago. Believe you me, our family, after the mass and everything, tumezika mwili, the family was shocked. Because we saw people we'd never seen, people we do not know. We don't know where they came from, but they were fighting kwa line ya chakula. Lack of food in Ukambani, starvation in not even in Ukambani peke yake. Ukambani, Garissa, Moya, those countries, Turkana up there, lack of food is serious. People from Western Rift Valley and Kisumu, maybe you will never understand this.
That is why
but
we are
lack
blaming
of
the
food is
government of
serious.
the day.
It's a very serious issue. You're blaming the government of the day, but we are talking about the government ya Kibaki Moi. Because we are talking about those people who grew up during that time. Was it hard or easy for them growing up that time? And maybe if education failed on your side, what do? How can I survive on agriculture when there is no agriculture in my area at all?
Can I tell you something?
Wait.
Israel as a country. You know, we stay also as we borrow best practices from other countries. It's a dry land. Israel is a desert. Correct. That's the terminology.
Can you compare
But do you
Kenya's
know that
leadership to Israel's leadership?
Yes,
Kenya is a third world country.
No.
Remember that.
Right now, it's not a third world country.
Kenya is a third world
Right
country.
now, it's not a third world country.
It's a third world country.
Because right
It's
now,
a third
do you
world
know why
country.
Trump is pulling out? Do you know Trump is even pulling out resources from African
Hiyo ni
countries?
issue ya diplomacy.
No,
Those are diplomatic issues.
Research has proven Kenya is no longer a third world country. It can stand alone. Yeah? Yes. It has the resources and the money to support the HIV people and the what have you. That's why Trump is pulling out. Because it's evident the European countries are pumping money in our countries. But people are looting. Corruption day in, day out. We have what it takes to correct everything, to ensure we are staying very well.
Problem is,
Israel is a
we
desert.
have what it takes.
And because
Back
it is a
then,
desert,
did we?
they were
No,
failing, they were failing soil.
Tunapoteleana
Today,
in
they
the
supply
time.
even food. Israel. Today, they are supplying food even to other countries. That is Israel.
Today, we are losing the
manage?
time. We are losing time. We are talking about our parents growing up back then. Did they have what we have right now in terms of the resources that you're talking about? You're talking about the Kenya being able to pump oil from Indian Ocean to Uganda. In the 1970s, maybe they had it, but can they pump that water
It was
right
done
now?
during the Kenyatta time. Kenya is not a landlocked country. I still remind you. Why can the government of the day now do the rightful thing? Pump water
of the day now. Mbona tuelewani? Like, can somebody explain to him? We are talking about during the times, those days when our parents were growing up.
The oil,
not
by
now.
50s, the oil pump
not
was
now.
passing. By 50s, the oil tunnel was passing. Why did the government not do that even that time? So we are
okay, I will just wrap up my counter on Ukambani. Eastern and Northeastern is very dry. I have lived there. I am not basing my...
Yes, corruption.
Thank you. I am not going to base my counter on stories or things that I have heard. I am giving you my opinion as somebody who has experienced this firsthand. Watu wanaenda kwa mazishi ya mtu mwenye hata hawajui kupigania chakula. Starvation, drought, and we lack a lot of things. Agriculture can never work in Ukambani unless things change.
They are making use of River Tana.
Thank you. I'm done.
Yes.
On this point, I agree. I disagree. I disagree with the opinion. I feel like the older people they had it rough. What they observed was, ama ile kitu walijaribu ni survival tactics. Hao ndio jamaa walikuwa wanajaribu ile kidogo kwa nayo wana survive nayo. Like hebu angalia education. Wazazi wetu walikuwa wanatuambia they used to school kilometers away. Area saizi mtoto anasomea like a kilometer lakini anachukuliwa na basi nyumbani, anarudishwa na basi nyumbani. Then I feel like generation ya saizi iko na opportunities. I feel like generation ya saizi iko na opportunities kubwa sana. Mtu anaweza kuwa leo amesota, kesho akiamka is a millionaire. Ndio aliingia forex. Ama ama alibet. Ama aliingia sako. There's a way you can save, unajua? There's a way you can survive area saizi. But kitambo they really had a rough time. Na sisi wa blame. Hawa jamaa walijaribu, ilikuwa try and error ndio wajaribu ku make it.
Okay, personally, I feel like the older generation had it easier. I'm speaking in terms of job market, because hiyo time ungekuwa umesoma hadi campus, alafu na present papers zako uko na first class, unakuwa hired hiyo time. But right now ni ngumu sana. Mimi nimefanya economics and statistics and I really struggled hadi kupata attachment. Like attachment, I'm working for you guys for free. Na bado hamtaki kunipea. Hadi ikafika to a point sasa nishamaliza campus nilisema mimi hata I'm not tamaking. Naweza sound kama joker but ukweli I'm not tamaking. Ati nimebeba ma-CV zangu natoka hii office naenda hii nikitafuta kazi. Kama ni kazi nimeona online, yes nita apply, but hiyo ya kutamak, no, I'm not doing that. Sasa the only thing like enye inafanya ni kama sisi Gen Z we are having it easier because sisi Gen Z tunajua ku network. Like Karo here is my friend, atapata opportunity naweza fanya ani link up aniambia hey nimepata job fulani enda. But sasa the older people utapata like walikuwa wana gatekeep. Uko na opportunity but it's rather ikae tu hivyo and done rather than ulink someone else.
Kuna kitu nataka kucorrect hapa yenye amesema watu wa kitambo had it hard when it comes to education, watu wa sasa tunaipiga rahisi. Kuna hiyo kuna story tumepigiwa for long mazee, ilikuwa na tembea place mbali. I understand sasa kuna mabasi, kuna manini that zina ferry mtu from nyumbani to shule, but kuna challenge inakuja nayo. Mimi kuna watu inaona mtoi anafaa kuwa class saa 1:30 ama saa 2, but juu basi lazima ipige ruti fulani refu, mtoi mazata achukuliwa 4:30 ama 5 afike shule saa 1:30. It makes sense. So sidhani juu nabebwa tu na basi na unaniharibia usingizi wangu, by the time nafika shule nimechoka, siko hata productive. Mwalimu akianza kufunza si get anything. Kitambo kukuanga na exam ilikuwa kushika masikio. How easy is that? Hiyo ni qualification, kushika tu hivi. Either urudi home ama uanze class. Sasa hii angalia mtoto wa class 4. Anabebana na bagi ni kama anaenda hiking. Unashindwa ni kusoma ama ni milima mnapanda. Unajua kama sasa hii mimi kuna mtu juzi niliona mzazi fulani akinunulia mtoto mpaka nini ya kufotokopi. Anahitajika sijui 3 sijui 5 aende shule. In my time na mimi hata simu za vile. Nilikuwa naenda tu shule, exam itaprintiwa upewe. Sasa hii gavana sema haina pesa ya kuprint exams. Kitambo sikuwa isikia hizo vitu, na hata kitambo CPE, watu walifanyanga CPE, haikuwa inaprintiwa Kenya. Ilikuwa inatoka nje inaletwa. Na still gavana iko isema haina do. Sasa yenye na collect more taxes than kitambo, ndio tatuambia na do. So we are having it harder than when CPE na watu wa kitambo wakifanya. Kitambo ilikuwa kwenda Makerere, which was the in thing kwa mtu wa kitambo. Easy. Sasa hiyo acha upigwe aggregate points ya kuingia University of Nairobi. Ndio utajua na Makerere ni nini. That would be my point.
I want to disagree with Mr. Fila here. Anaongelea mambo ya how hard it is to have education right now. Naweza mwambia right now it's easy because unakuta mtu ameanza daycare na pia ameanza schooling over there. The other thing, like my children, nitasema with my experience, nikiwapatia simu, they learn about colors, they learn about letters, they learn about family members. Before waingie shule, maybe wanaenda kufunzo tu, maybe kushika kalamu. And at that time still, niko na vitabu, niko na kalamu, nitampatia aanze kuandika. And I have that time. Sometimes I have time with my kids. Watajua kuandika even before waingie hiyo shule. Let's look back then. Huyo mzazi, tuseme those days, it was rough for them because first of all, huyo mzazi ako na watoto wangapi? Ako maybe na 9 kids. Hao 9 kids, ndio tunasema ako na shamba. Hiyo shamba iko na mavuno kiasi gani ya kulisha watoto? Maybe only maize, they have only maize. Like I used to talk to my mom, anatuambia they had only maize, whereby ndio atabeba kuenda shule. Na shule, hivyo mnasema, they have to walk like 5 or 7 kilometers waende. Kwa hiyo shule ilikuwa moja. Right now, mnatoka kwa ploti, kuna shule hapo. Secondary, how many secondary do we have? And especially in Kayole, we have like every plot, we have a secondary school. We get the info, the whatever, the ideas. The other thing is, those days, hawakuwa na simu, hawakuwa na computers, hawakuwa na TV. Sasa tunafungulia watoi TV, wanasoma through, wengine wanaongea kizungu hata wajaingia shule. But those days, huyo mtoto kabla hata ajue kushika kalamu lazima apelekwe shule. Mzazi mwenyewe hata hakusoma, ajui maana ya masomo. Aya, in the other thing, hata kama anajua maana ya masomo, hiyo time yenyewe hana, kwa sababu huyu mtoto akipata masomo na hana kitu ya kukula, atendaje hiyo shule? Unakuta wengine wanaachia shule katikati cause hawana masomo, wengine wataachia katikati cause ya nini? Ule mzazi wake hakusoma, so anataka huyu msichana achie shule katikati, aolewe, apate mahari, ndio aweze kufanya nini? Kuketa for the boys. Mostly walikuwa wanasema boys ndio wasome. So mimi nasema hivi, wale watoto those old generation, they had it for, alafu kama ni maji, kama sahi sisi tunaenda kwa mfereji, unafungulia maji inatoka. Those days maji ilikuwa kule, hata maji ilikuwa mbali, huyo mtoto atoke shule achote maji afanye nini? So for me, I totally disagree. At those days, it was hard. It was easy. It was totally rough for them. For us right now, mimi naweza sema as a mother, I have time for my kids. Nikitoka hapa naweza pata time na my kids. Na the other thing, naweza wapatia information even through phone. Tunaweza communicate sasa, niwaambie nataka mfanye hivi. But those days, for sure, it was hard.